FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, Supreme Court admit 14 CSOs into case challenging the constitutionality of the Special Prosecutor's Office as group defense anti-corruption mandate. Also, the Methodist Church joins the Supreme Court case over alleged discrimination against Muslim students at the Wesley Girls Senior High School. And much later, railway workers demand probe into missing 50 million Ghana cedis as 11 months of unpaid salaries triggers growing concern and anger. I am Enyonam Haligah. Details of our headlines and other stories. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to our first story now, where the Supreme Court has admitted an application by 14 civil society groups organization to join the ongoing case challenging the constitutionality of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The substantive case filed by private citizen Noah Adamte questions whether some powers exercised by the Office of the Special Prosecutor are consistent with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. The civil society organization seeking to join the case include Transparency International, Imani Africa, One Ghana Movement, African Center for Energy Policy, Star Ghana, Odikro, and Parliamentary Network Africa. We'll be joining, crossing over to the court pretty shortly. But before that, we'll take you to the Public Account Committee, where they have criticized the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for what it describes as a persistent neglect of Ghana's mission building in New York. The committee noted that despite the building's 14-story capacity, only 4 floors have been operational since 2007, as insulators were reportedly removed from the facility. Addressing the issue during park sitting, the acting chairman, Samuel Atamil, stated that the fully utilizing of the property could generate significant revenue for the state and also help cut down government spending on rented office accommodation.
Your building in New York is 14 floors and you use only 3 floors. And that place is in center of town of New York. I think it's 47th floor, 47th Street, so.
Yes, sir. It's in a prime location.
Very prime location. Somebody supposedly removed insulation or something, and as a result, 14 stories. We use 3 or most 4. Goodness, do you know if this building, we could use all 14 floors, the revenue that we will get from rent, or some of our embassy people wouldn't have to rent from somewhere.
We are working on it as part of our strike, so it's work in progress.
Madam, I'm disappointed because the time that I went there was 2007. 2007, and it's still work in progress. 2007. You were only using 3 floors out of 14 floors. And General Achampong was the one, I think, who bought that building. Center of New York.
Still on Public Accounts Committee, the Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, James Jachikwason, in response to this, indicated that currently about 8 floors of the building are being used, noting that the ministry is actively dealing with the issue.
That your observation is a little bit way outdated. If you have not been there recently, we are using more than 3 floors right now. But in the same token, we are working to improve.
How many floors are you using, Honorable Minister?
Well, I can assure you about 7 to 8 floors.
So let's give you that we are using 8 floors.
Yes.
And it's 14 floors.
Yes. It's based on investment, renovation, all kinds of aspects. So we are entering this new phase of strike where we're trying to own our properties, renovate all the structures So it's one of our prime observations, and we are going to work on it as soon as finances are released.
We'll go on to our phone lines now and speak to our parliamentary correspondent who has been following the public account sit-in. Christian, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And we understand there's also a story concerning the Picky College of Education. I mean, what do we know from there?
Yes, that one is pretty interesting because the Picky College of Education had financial losses rising from 916,000 Ghana cedis to 1 million Ghana cedis from 2023 to 2024. And when the school appeared before the committee, the Director of Finance indicated that those losses were incurred as a result of high inflation rates. That was fiercely resisted by the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, Abenote Asare, who was of the view that that wasn't a strong justification enough. We can listen to excerpts of that encounter.
Right, Christian, we are facing some challenges here, but give us a brief overview of how today's sit-in will be like.
So today has been heavy on education. We've had most pre-tertiary and tertiary institutions, some from the central region and a number of them from the Greater Accra region. And then currently we are about to start with those from the Volta region. Basically what has been the issue cutting across most of the institutions have been issues of final year students who take books from school libraries and fail to return them. So that becomes cost that the schools would have to bear. And in most of the instances, the schools have written to the Ghana Education Service for more or less like the restock of the books, some of those misplaced or missing books. And so those are some of the issues. And in some instances too, there are some schools that, have had electricity bills unpaid. And in one instance, for instance, there was an issue of an earned salary concerning a staff, who earned a salary they shouldn't have been paid for no work done in that regard. So basically, it has been a little calm today because most of the infractions that the schools have been cited for have already been dealt with. The arrears or the funds that are to be reimbursed have been reimbursed for most of the instances. And so there weren't much to be done, especially for schools from the Greater Accra region. We hope to see what would come out from the Volta region schools, and then we'll report subsequently on that.
Christian, thank you so much for bringing us updates. We will come to you in a subsequent bulletin as the day unravels. But that was our parliamentary correspondent, Christian Yali, bringing us some updates from the Public Accounts Committee sit-in. Now we'll take you to the Western North region, where one person has been confirmed dead, while the chief for Sifi Asariansu A and 6 others are receiving treatment following a shooting incident linked to suspected illegal miners in the Bibiani Ariaso Bekwai municipality of the Western North region. The incident is said to have occurred after the chief, Nana Kwesi Enyim II, together with some youth from the community, visited the Afua Hill Forest Reserve over reports of ongoing illegal mining activities. Joining us on the phone lines now is our reporter, Matthew Ahiave, who has been following the development and joins us to bring us some updates as the day unfolded. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, what have you been learning about the shooting incident and how it unfolded?
My sister, good afternoon. When you come to Asawinso A in the Bibiani area, so municipality, yesterday there was a shooting incident which we rushed quickly to the community and we had interaction with some victims and community members, and we were told it's linked to illegal mining activity, which Nana Akwesi Eyim III, Odiko of Asawinso A, went to the site to have communication or discussion with the illegal miners, because per him, or according to him, The paramount chief is not in support of illegal mining, and for that matter, he charged all his sub-chiefs to make sure there is no illegal mining activities in their community. So he, exactly took his words, and he went to the site he heard about, but just on Sunday with his boys, about 10 boys, 11 boys, which he is added to be the 12th person. So according to him, when he got there, he spoke with the illegal miners peacefully, and the supervisor over there told him they will come so that they sort things out. So his response was, no, we have nothing to sort out. What I want is, I don't want illegal mining activities on my land. So before you come to me, you have to pack your things and leave. So according to him, upon their return going home, only for them to heard a gunshot behind them, and they have to run for their lives. So upon running, one of the guys were being shot. That is, one of his guys were being shot. According to sources, or according to the assembly member, the guy is around 36 years old. So currently, as I'm talking to you, the MCE together with the assembly member and some other traditional leaders are here at the Anriaso Community Hospital. They came to visit the chief. Firstly, they went to the family, went to have discussions with them, and later proceeded to the hospital to visit the victims. And as I'm talking to you, the chief is doing well, and the deceased too has been kept at the morgue, and the rest of the victims, that is 5 people are also doing well, which one of them spoke with us.
Right, Matthew,
so currently, this is what is going on.
We wrap up. What's your assessment of the security situation? Considering it's a shooting incident, I believe a few people will still be shaken about that.
Minister, come again.
I was asking what the security situation is concerning it was a shooting incident. A few of the members of the community will still be shaken. How is it looking over there?
Currently, as we are here, some few minutes, I heard the community is hot as it stands now, because some of the youth are also demanding justice from the police service or the security service. Currently, I've not been there currently though, but whatever it is, I'll be bringing updates.
Right. Have quickly, also briefly before you go, has any arrest been made yet by the police, or have they indicated of steps being taken to address and deal with illegal mining activities there?
Yes, currently, as I'm talking to you, even though the police have not confirmed to us, but then the assembly member has confirmed to us that the owner of the site has been currently arrested, and he is going to help in investigation into the incident.
Right. Thank you so much. And that was Matthew Ahiave. He's a Western North regional correspondent, bringing us some update on one person that was confirmed dead in the Bibiani Anyasu Bekwai municipality of the Western North region. This is still the midday news here on VFM 92.7. Moving on to some other stories now, as Ghana's latest multidimensional poverty index paints a picture of progress but also exposes deep regional inequality. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the national multidimensional poverty rate declined from 24.3% in 2021 to 23% in 2025. Out of 261 districts, 250 recorded reductions in poverty, suggesting that progress has been made widespread across the country. But the improvement has not been even. This district remained concentrated in the northern belt, with all 6 districts in the northeast region appearing among the 10 most deprived districts in the country. The data also shows that health insurance remains the biggest driver of deprivation, contributing to 32.2% of multidimensional poverty. So what do these numbers really tell us about poverty, inequality, and access to basic services in Ghana? Joining us in studio now is a member of the research desk here at TV3, bringing us some more insight on that. Wisdom, tell us more.
So more often, Enyonam, if we talk about poverty, we only look at the monetary aspects. People tend to look at if you don't have money, that means you are poor. But multidimensional poverty looks beyond that. So poverty is not just about income. It looks at very key metrics. You look at living conditions, which entails your water, your sanitation, housing, toilet. 1 to 2 of these 4 metrics, then you can be considered as multidimensionally poor. Currently, the national rate stands at 11.5% and employment 5.6%. So you mentioned that 250 out of 261 districts that we have in the country has seen a major improvement in their multidimensional poverty, who were experiencing multidimensional poverty in 2021 was actually above the average, the national average. But this year, the national average was 23%. The districts recording multidimensional poverty index below that national average has actually increased, and only about 57 are actually having higher than the national average. But there's one key thing that we have to take note, that's the regional disparity. So if you look at the regions, you realize that the northern belt, the savannah, the northeast, the upper east, upper west, there's a high concentration of poverty around that area. And if you look at the northeast in particular, about all the 6 districts in the northeast region are recording high multidimensional poverty index. In fact, they are the worst performing districts for the 2025 index. But if you come to the urban sides, you look at the Kolikolote municipality, Ablekuma West, the Kumasi metropolitan area, they are all experiencing or having a least deprived multi-dimensional poverty, meaning they are doing well in terms of their poverty index. But the lowest deprived districts is the Yonyo Nanswan, the Triponi, the East Mamprusi, the Bunkpurugu, and the Dumprugu Nyampanduri, the Mamprugu, the Mamprugu and the West Mamprusi municipal districts as well. So these are all northeast regions, right? So we should look at equitable distribution of amenities.
Right, I was getting to that. So what are some of these contributing factors to having more of the concentration of poverty in the northern parts than the southern part of Ghana? So
you look at the northern parts, they lack access to social amenities. You look at health facilities, you look at good schools, you look at potable drinking water. These are all part of the metrics in determining multidimensional poverty. If you look at all this, they are lacking in terms of all this. So it's time the government also pay attention to equitable distribution of these amenities across the northern belt as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And that was Wisdom Safu, who joined us in studio for some insight into the latest data by the Ghana Statistical Service, where they're indicating that poverty rate has declined from 24.3% in 2021 to 23% in 2025. Now, away from that, some young artists in Aija Zongo in Kumasi have begun transforming the Tech Junction footbridge into a colorful display of creativity and patriotism. The group is painting portraits of Ghana's current and former heads of state as part of efforts to beautify the area or showcasing local artistic talent. The initiative, according to the artists, was inspired by the recent beautification project championed by the Ashanti Regional Minister at the Asokwa interchange.
So armed with paint brushes, spray cans and buckets of color, these young artists are steadily turning the once plain Tech Junction footbridge into a vibrant public artwork. The murals feature portraits of Ghana's current president alongside former heads of state, carefully painted across sections of the bridge. The initiative has attracted attention from commuters and residents, many of whom have stopped to admire the artwork and take photographs. According to the artists, the project is not only aimed at beautifying the footbridge, but also creating a platform to promote youth creativity and talent.
I've been passing here day in, day out, and by the look of things, I think the interchange needs to get a better look. Yeah, and I, being an artist, I decided to just embark on this journey.
The artists say the idea was inspired by the Ashanti Regional Minister's support for public art projects, particularly the painting and beautification of the Asukwa interchange, which has since become a major attraction in Kumasi. Passers-by have praised the initiative, describing it as a positive use of art to promote national identity and community development.
I see it to be a very laudable initiative because before, when you pass here, this place was very messy with posters and everything. But now you can see that it's really nice, and then it's also a form of education. Children pass by and then see.
It's very nice because it even reminds of certain history of our past presidents.
The group hopes the initiative will encourage greater investment in community art projects while giving young creatives the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to society.
That was a report by my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar. Now we'll take you to the court where the Supreme Court has admitted an application by 14 civil society organizations to join the ongoing case challenging the constitutionality of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The substantive case filed by a private citizen, Noah Adamte, questions whether some powers exercised by the Office of the Special Prosecutor are consistent with the provision of the 1992 Constitution. The civil society organizations seeking to join the case including Transparency International, Imani Africa, One Ghana Movement, Africa Center for Energy Policy, Star Ghana, Odiko, and Parliamentary Network Africa. The groups argue that they played instrumental roles in the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and can therefore assist the court in determining issues raised in the suit. According to them, the outcomes of the case could have major implications for Ghana's corruption fight and a broader fight against corruption in the country. Now, joining us on the phone now is our court correspondent, Lord Idwasari, bringing us more updates from the court today. Lord, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, what transpired in court? We're seeing quite a number of headlines this afternoon.
Indeed, Enyonam. So, essentially, regarding the matters concerning the Office of the Special Prosecutor, like indicated, the 14 civil society organizations, including the CDD Ghana, they filed that motion. Now, their lead counsel, Kizito Bayu, he moved the motion for leave to file processes to join the suit, challenging the powers of the Special Prosecutor. He argued that the applicants, in this case the 14 CSOs, they actively participated in the formation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, they indicated that if granted leave, their participation will assist the Supreme Court with the relevant institutional memory, public interest perspective, comparative anti-corruption standards, and constitutional arguments necessary for the determination of the matter. Now, after making his argument, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Ramsar, he did not oppose that motion, and so in the end, the 7-member panel of justices, chaired by the Chief Justice, Paul Bafo Boni, granted them that leave and essentially admitted them to be joined to the suit. He actually directed them to file their processes within 14 days. And so what this means is that the 14 CSOs will now file their processes, which will help the courts moving forward in the adjudication of the case relating to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, we spoke to the parties involved, a number of them. You can take a listen to what they've been saying.
The lead counsel, Kizito Bayu, clearly put before the court. We believe that when I say we, not as lawyers, I'm talking about the CSOs that are coming in, believe that the court deserves a certain view that is currently missing in the arguments. And that's what have been put before the court. And thankfully, as you heard my lords, they have read the brief, and they appreciate that it is important and it will help the court to come to, as His Lordship said, the Chief Justice said, a lasting solution. So this is good news for us as a team. Yeah.
You've been given 14 days to complete your processes before the court. What from there? Where do we go?
Our process is literally complete. They have already read it. But as you are coming today, you cannot come as if the door has been opened. We came knocking on the door, and it has now been opened. So we have now been given 14 days to file it. But I can assure you, we'll file it far in advance.
Can you give us a bit of brief or more like a summary of parts of your arguments in the brief that you submitted?
I think...
Lord, before you take leave of us, we also understand that the Supreme Court has granted an application by the trustees of the Methodist Church to join the suit by the private citizen Shafiq Osman in the suit regarding the discrimination against Muslim students at the Wesley Girls Senior High School. Briefly, what has also been of that case?
So in that matter, the trustees of the Methodist Church, they filed their suit indicating that yes, in as much as the Board of Governors of Wesley Girls are in the matter, they are only managers of the school, but they as a trustee, whichever decision the Supreme Court takes will directly affect them, which is the Methodist Church. And so they will bring the apex courts to grant them to be able to join the suit as the four defendants. Now, presently, the defendants in the case are the Board of Governors of Wesley Girls Senior High School, the Ghana Education Service, and then the Attorney General. Now, after making this argument or moving their motion, the plaintiff in the matter, Shafiq Osman, his lawyer, Abdulaziz Gomda, he opposed it vehemently, indicating that the argument that they are making in the statement of case have already been addressed by the Supreme Court in a different, in an earlier hearing, I should say, and so there was no need for them to be joined as defendants. The Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Remsa, however, did not oppose it. He buttressed the point that indeed, Wesley Girls Senior High School, although they are owned by a religious institution, although they are managed by they are faith-based owned, and so they had to be added to the suit as defendants, essentially rehashing what the trustees have been saying, that whichever decision the apex court takes will affect them. In the end, the apex court admitted them and also asked them to file their processes to all the parties involved.
Well, I have no choice than to agree with the learned and the law lords for that matter. I hold a contrary view, and basically to the effect that whatever the Board of Trustees seeks or sought to argue in opposition or in response to the plaintiff state of case, the Board of Governors have the capacity to respond to say, and the Supreme Court in the previous application by the Board of Governors, that's the first defendant, to strike out the plaintiff's case.
That was Abdul Aziz Gomda. He's the counsel for Shafiq Osman. And that brings us to the end of Midday News here on 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Business News with Bismarck Ewusa is next.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck House. Coming up, Bank of Ghana pushes large-scale gold miners to surrender 30% of annual gold output as reserve build-up drive intensifies. Also ahead, financial regulators launch sustainable finance roadmap to help banks, insurers, pension funds, and capital market players manage climate and sustainability risks.
By engaging with these other financial sector regulators, the Bank of Ghana aims to ensure a coordinated approach towards financial sustainability.
Plus, 250 out of 261 districts recorded decline in multi-dimensional poverty between 2021 and 2025, despite persistent inequalities in distribution of gains.
These rankings should help government target interventions better. They should help metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies improve planning and budgeting.
We'll bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Government is seeking to increase the share of gold produced by large-scale mining companies that must be sold to the Bank of Ghana from 20% to 30% under a revamped reserve accumulation program. The move forms part of efforts by the central bank to strengthen Ghana's external reserves and support the cedi through increased gold holdings. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report. The proposal represents an increase from the current 20% arrangement agreed with mining firms under the Gold Purchase Program introduced in 2022. The Bank of Ghana's Gold Management Program Department says the central bank wants the entire allocation delivered in dollar form to improve traceability and export monitoring. He revealed that miners delivered only about 10 tons of gold last year, despite producing close to 100 tons, falling short of the earlier commitment. The central bank is targeting up to 157 tons of gold reserves by 2028 as part of broader efforts to rebuild Ghana's external buffers. But negotiations with mining firms remain ongoing. The Ghana Chamber of Mines says no agreement has yet been reached on pricing and discount structures, with mining companies raising concerns over additional costs and the treatment of byproducts such as silver. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, Ghana's financial regulators are joining forces to roll out a sustainable finance roadmap that will guide how banks, insurers, pension funds, and capital markets players manage climate and sustainability risks across the entire financial system. The Bank of Ghana, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), the National Insurance Commission, and the National Pensions Regulatory Authority are collaborating on the framework in what is said to be the most coordinated regulatory response to climate risk and Ghana's financial sector has seen. My colleague Michael Obodu has the rest of the story.
The announcement was made by the head of Bank of Ghana's Banking Supervision Department, Ismail Adam, at a responsible and sustainable banking training organized by the National Banking College in Accra. He revealed that the Bank of Ghana has already taken several steps ahead of the broader roadmap, including issuing a climate-related financial risk directive that compels banks to disclose and manage their exposure to climate risks. A reporting template aligned with international standards under IFRS 2 has also been developed to guide compliance.
We've also collaborated with the other financial regulators like Securities and Exchange Commission, NIC, National Insurance Commission, and National Pension Regulatory Authority towards issuing a sustainable finance roadmap By engaging with these other financial sector regulators, the Bank of Ghana aims to ensure a coordinated approach towards financial sustainability, recognizing that the challenges posed by climate change and other sustainability issues transcend beyond the banking sector to other financial sectors. The collaboration aims to create synergies that enhance the effectiveness of the regulatory frameworks across the financial landscape.
Principal of the National Banking College, Gloria Darlene Quarty, said responsible banking has become critical to strengthening sustainability, ethical governance, environmental stewardship, and public trust within financial institutions.
Responsible banking is no longer optional. It is central to building resilient institutions, maintaining public trust, and supporting sustainable economic development. As board members and senior executives, your leadership is critical in embedding responsible banking principles into strategy, culture, risk management, and decision-making processes within our institutions.
The head of the Private Sector and Innovation Promotion Program at GIZ also underscored the relevance of ESG for posterity.
Not just think of the business in your bank or in your other company, but also combining this with being environmentally and socially responsible. So, whatever we are doing is leaving the place at least as good, if not a better place for our children.
And that was a report by my colleague Michael Obodu. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. I'll start to one of our headline stories. A report by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that while the nation is making steady progress against poverty, the benefits are starkly unequal. In its maiden district-level Dimensional Poverty Index rankings covering all 261 districts, the GSS revealed that an impressive 250 districts saw a reduction in poverty between 2021 and 2025. There is more in the following business report.
The progress masks a massive geographic divide, highlighted by a staggering 46 percentage point gap between Ghana's most and least deprived areas. At one end of the spectrum is our Yawaso North Municipal in the Greater Accra region, which recorded the lowest multidimensional poverty incidence at just 5.5%. At the other end lies Yenyo Nazwan in the northeast region, where more than half the population, that is 51.6%, remaining multidimensionally poor. The northeast region as a whole faces severe challenges, with all 6 of its districts ranking among the top 10 most impoverished in the country. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu noted the value of the ranking
is not in naming districts. The value lies in guiding action. These rankings should help government target interventions better. They should help metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies improve planning and budgeting. They should help Parliament strengthen oversight.
Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyako Ampim assured the GSS of the ministry's support.
Even though I haven't consulted him, I'm going to make a pledge that we are going to support you with funds to go to all the 16 regions, meet all the assemblies, and discuss these findings with them.
Acting Deputy Government Statistician Omar Saidi recommended that priority attention is given to high poverty districts.
All districts in the northeast region need to be reassessed for targeted interventions. MMDAs should integrate the findings into their medium-term development plans. The ranking provide evidence for planning, budgeting, targeting, and monitoring. Resource allocation should reflect need. Districts with high and persistent MPI should be considered in public investment, social protection, and local development programming.
The GSS urged government to establish peer learning programs, allowing lagging districts to study the success strategies of high-performing rapid reduction areas like Wild West.
A report on some statistics on multidimensional poverty, bringing us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, for more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Thanks for your company.